Hi, Sag. I hope you guys are doing so well. And yeah, we're going to look into your next 72 hours. So this is just going to be kind of a light, it's somewhat predictive, but it's within a short pocket of time. So anything predictive that comes from tarot is basically like what it actually is we're taking a look at the snapshot of the current energy, and then we're seeing the trajectory based on the current energy, which can change at any time. So predictive tarot, questionable at best because things are always in a state of change. So I don't really like focusing on predictive for that reason. But unless it's like a tight little time frame, then I usually find that can still be somewhat helpful. But keep that in mind. You always have free will. You can always change the energy at any given time. No predictive anything ever trumps that, ever, okay? So please do not give your power away. But yeah, we're going to take a look at, based on the current energy, what the next couple of days will look like for you, where you're headed, what the energetic themes are, if there might be an important event or experience that could come up, what might be influencing you, and some advice. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. You can check all your placements. I don't read for a particular placement. So if you want to watch like your sun, moon, rising, Venus, whatever, and just apply the messages to certain parts of your life, feel free to just do whatever you feel called to do, okay? All right, also one last thing, there's a members area now, so that's exciting. Thank you so much to those of you who are there already. Like, I'm loving it so far, and it's just been really great feedback. So there's just one tier, they get an extra reading every week, and it's awesome. So if you want to join, then the link to that is in the info box below. And there's also a join button at the top of my YouTube channel. Okay, let's get into it, Sag. So I also felt called to a specific stone or crystal for each of you guys for this series of readings. And the one that came out for you is this guy. And this is aragonite. Aragonite. However you want to say it. It's quite an interesting little stone, especially in the way that it is. The crystal formations are, right? Kind of just like spikes out everywhere here. So this is really good for centering yourself and making that like an easy and natural process. Staying centered within yourself, staying in your body, providing insight into the basis of problems in like on the physical plane. So like practical problems that have to do with the 3D realm. This can really help you get to the core of what that is and then subsequently kind of solve those issues. It can also help you to maintain strict discipline and reliability when there is something practical that needs you to show up. So it does a lot of other things, but it is a very grounding stone. It is a very like practical kind of support stone. So maybe the next couple days will be like that for you. But if you feel called to, you can look up some of the other traits of that stone and we'll see if that comes into play in your reading at all. But yeah, something might be coming up where something comes up that is like a practical kind of issue that needs to be solved, and you need to just be centered and disciplined to do that, perhaps. But we'll see what comes out in the reading about that. So I'm just going to leave that here to sort of transmit some energy to you guys through the reading if you need. And let's get the main spread down here and see what's going on. Okay. Tell me about the next 72 hours for Sag. What would it benefit them to know about the current energies, where those energies are leading them, what might be manifesting as a result, how they can enjoy this time and make the most of it no matter what it holds. All right, so let's see. Love it. Love it, love it. Continue to love it. Let me just see from above here what's going on with this. Might bring this in a little bit too. I don't think we need that much room. Better if you guys can see things a little closer up. Okay, let's get 2 more cards. Oh, we got 2. Ooh. 4 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. 9 of Wands, 3 of Swords in reverse. Okay. There could be a relationship. It could be family with the 4 of Wands, or a loved one, or, you know, a friend. Really, with the 4 of Wands, it's just someone that you feel there's an openness, like a spaciousness, a freedom, but also a security and a sense of balance that's been formed, or a foundation that's been formed here, but it's formed on passion, mutual respect, love, freedom, that kind of thing. You genuinely bring a lot of joy to one another with the 4 of Wands. There could have been some, or there might be a little bit of heartbreak or heartache here, like something that caused pain with the 3 of Swords there that you're trying to push through in a relationship, either to bring a state of equilibrium back to it, or to just defend it, to fight for it. If that's something that it feels like needs to happen. But let's see what comes out as we clarify. And I'm going to use Lenormand, some oracle cards, and just kind of put a bunch of different things together to get some really clear and direct messages for you, okay? Okay, so let's start with the overall theme. So this is like the energy surrounding you, or what you might be dealing with, and then the energy that you yourself are embodying. So the suspended one, this is the Hanged Man in this deck. In reverse is the overall theme, and then the 5 of Wands in reverse is your energy. I love this. It feels like something is becoming clear, something is getting unstuck. This could also have to do, this is the card that is the card of like associated with Neptune in the tarot. Neptune did just start going, it's in retrograde now, or it's about to start. And things with that do tend to become like quite clear, because normally Neptune can be a planet which can cause a little bit of confusion. It can be a little bit illusiony, hazy. Sometimes it causes us to wear rose-colored glasses. Sometimes it just doesn't allow us to see things clearly because of our own internal state being projected, right? But it makes things difficult, and it can kind of cause this place where you don't feel super confident always moving forwards, kind of like you're walking through fog or driving through fog. And so for that reason, the Hanged Man, sometimes it asks us to like stop, to slow down, to flip things on their head, our perspective, so that we can see above the fog. But I feel like here there's something that's lifting and it's becoming clear for you. And I'm going to pull a Lenormand card to see what area that might be affecting you specifically, or what area in your life that could be happening. But it feels like something has maybe been on pause or confusing a little bit, and that's changing. It could be a state of tension, or like a bit of a fight or disagreement you've been having with someone as well. Maybe an authority figure, or maybe about your own authority. Like this is the card of intense karma and things that we need to work through at the bottom of the deck. So for some of you, you're breaking an old karmic cycle. You're liberating yourself, and you are kind of taking back authority over something and getting things moving. And this is quite a big event with the Garden card. Okay. So the Bear card in the Lenormand, it refers to money, personal finances, income, cash flow, long-term investments, and like larger purchases overall. But it can also talk about like authority figures, your boss, something that has force, or like an official kind of energy. That could either be management or protection. And depending on how that authority is either used correctly or misused, right? It could be an overbearing or like a stifling energy. But this is it also, the timing for the Bear card is long term, like generally between 10 to 15 years it represents. So It could be something you've been moving through long term for a while, something that's had authority over your life that's kind of getting unstuck. So yeah, this could have been a long karmic cycle, or it could have been like a long-standing thing that needed healing between yourself and somebody else for some of you. But the Garden, that card talks specifically about gatherings, and like essentially your social life is at the heart of that card. So it can talk about places where people gather or have fun. It can also talk about social networking. It can talk about social media, but it talks about socialization, gathering, networking, public places, or like a specific event that takes place. Okay. So there definitely could be something getting unstuck in terms of finances here. And especially if you're in like an entertaining business or a business that has to do with networking or publicity, there could be something where, or like you have an audience in some way, right? It feels like you are taking authority back over something in your life, or you maybe are even being seen as the authority in a specific area of your life. Can you tell me a little bit more about what area that might be in? Because that's still a little bit vague. Maybe it's because it's different for all of you. What area is Sag kind of getting things moving or taking some role of authority here? Or success, I heard. So some of you are receiving success. Something that's felt super heavy. I'm telling you, for some of you, there's been something that has felt like an uphill battle. And it doesn't have to be as long as 10 to 15 years, but it's felt long, even if it was short, because of how heavy it has felt. Yeah. I think that this is coming to a close, or you're able to see how heavy something has actually been, how much something has affected you. For some of you, this has been like being in a specific space with an authority figure, like living with a parent or working under, again, like a boss, and they put a lot on you. It's very energetically draining, whatever that is. Or you take in a lot of energy, but it's felt like it's kept you stagnant. It's kept things heavy, maybe. And I see that there's some sort of tension or conflict that is shifting. It's being dissolved because you are in the energy of the 5 of Wands in reverse. And this can talk when it's in the upright about competition, conflict, just like being at odds, or just there being a lot of shifts happening. And so then your internal state, there's a state of tension or conflict. So this could have also been internal, and you're somehow like, again, taking back your power, taking back your authority through maybe shifting your perspective on something. And then your internal state, you're able to dissolve that or relieve that. So whether this has to do directly with someone else or whether this is more something you're processing just internally, I do feel like you're getting something moving that has been heavy and stuck. And as that happens, that's happening in part because you have cleared something up internally. Let's see more about that. Tell me about this 5 of Wands in reverse. But you're bringing peace and clarity, it feels like, to a situation. Like you've reconciled something that had been weighing on you. Okay. It could be something that... Is this representative of like a relationship falling apart here? Let's see. No. Okay. It's just a state of unhappiness. And I think it's been in a certain community again or environment. So it was either in a relationship. So this relationship did not, they said it didn't fall apart, but there was a lot of conflict. Even if that was with yourself, then it's like you felt at odds with yourself. And I'm feeling like this was a very emotional thing because the King of Cups and the Devil are at the bottom of the deck here. So it's almost like this is coming through as having such intense and deep emotions. not toxic, it's not necessarily, but such an intensity and depth of them, and so much being under the surface or like held inside with the King of Cups, that it caused a lot of issues, maybe assumptions. But I feel this is a divide between you and somebody else, or a division within yourself, because you were holding all of this weight and it was making you really unhappy. So maybe you didn't feel like you had a place to release it or to let that out or process it where you felt safe because of your environment or the people around you. But something is being cleared up here, and it feels like it's something that in the past, it's something that was like, did initially have a lot of joy. And it may still, like if you, let's say you worked this out, then you're returning to that state, or you're finding a way to move through that. Again, push through the pain that there may have been in the past, whatever that was around. This feels like healing and coming back to a place of peace, resolution, reconciling something. Again, whether that's with someone else or within yourself, it's something that was creating division and unhappiness in a situation that was otherwise viewed as a gift, a blessing, or a dream fulfillment kind of thing here. They're showing me a lot of emotion though, a lot. And I think because of the intensity, it was part of what created all this confusion and heaviness. It's coming through as like a buildup of emotion that wasn't expressed, shared, communicated in a healthy way. And I think it kind of reached a breaking point. But it feels like new life is being brought back into this in a beautiful way. So a significant event or experience that may be happening is the 5 of Cups in reverse. So you have 2 5s in reverse. I just really love this because this is coming out of a state of grief, coming out of a state of mourning, feeling like you are finally released from that, from whatever that was. Which is obviously beautiful and very significant. So let's get some cards just to see what that situation may have been that was causing that. But this is healing. So it's not only like the resolution of internal conflict or chaos, or even conflict and chaos you were having with someone, probably due to like some sort of competitive or defensive energy, whether that was intentional or even conscious or not. Or just not seeing eye to eye. And then there's this grief, this loss, this mourning, but that is also being relieved. So tell me more about this significant event with the 5 of Cups in reverse, please. Let's see. Okay. More about that. We are what we believe we are, C.S. Lewis. At the bottom of the deck is this card, What I Was Gonna Say, Volume 8. It came out in reverse though, and it's this huge book, What I Was Gonna Say. Things being held inside. There's something about repression or withholding here. It caused people to make assumptions about what they are, what they aren't, maybe who someone else is or isn't, whether you were enough or not is coming through. And this caused grief. It feels like something very significant is being expressed. Maybe a lot is coming out, being outpoured. And I feel like this is a very positive thing, like very positive. It feels like this is what is getting things moving. But it could be that the outpouring is coming as a result of receiving clarity or something shifting internally that allows for that to happen finally. Okay. I really like that. Let's see if anything else wants to come out about that from the tarot here. Anything else about this event or experience? This feels like just a huge weight is being lifted, both emotionally and energetically from you. So you could also be noticing that your energy levels, I heard return to normal, or like they feel amplified and balanced again. You have more energy. Whoa. Okay, the 8 of Cups in reverse. Look at, there's another 5 in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Something has been very strenuous and difficult. You could have felt division or just not on the same page with something. Okay. The 8 of Cups in reverse, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. This was the source of the grief initially. This is what's being healed. It feels like there's something that was, you considered it to be kind of like the final coin, you know, like you had the 9 of coins, that's you, happy, single, balanced, stable, you know, good within yourself. But then there's something here that you at one point considered, again, like wish fulfillment or the 10 of Pentacles. Something that would add, or you could build a legacy with something. And it feels like that's whatever that is, that's what the grief was surrounding. That's where the division was, or what was not functioning properly. But at the same time, this was still very much in your energy or in your environment, but you weren't disconnecting from it emotionally. So it wasn't coming together the way you wanted, and it was still very much present, and you didn't feel like you could emotionally disconnect. Maybe because there was a lot of feeling and grief and unresolved conflict here, but this is what's being healed. So if something wasn't coming together, but at the same time, you weren't able to release yourself emotionally from it, right? That is going to cause some grief, some tension, you feeling out in the cold, right? Because unresolved things, that when we don't have closure, they tend to kind of just sit with us and continue to get heavier. So it feels like something where there was division, now there is cooperation or fresh life that's coming into that. And specifically something about expression of either, this does feel like actual verbal expression or emotional expression of maybe like why you acted the way you did in the past because of certain beliefs you had about yourself maybe, or assumptions that you had made. Or this could be someone else sharing that with you. But I do feel like there's just a huge weight lifted, so much clarity and reconciliation and resolve that is able to come in because of this. So that is just super freaking positive. It feels like now you're making grounded, empowered choices to move forwards from something that was draining and disempowering, and you're making choices from a place of being partners or on the same team. Whereas before, maybe you were trying to do that, but butting heads or finding a difficult time understanding each other, probably because things weren't being directly communicated or shared. So the greatest influence on you during this time is coming through as the 2 of Wands in reverse. Well, there's an active decision, there's a decision that is being actively made during the next couple days. This is talking about here being like coming to a crossroads or having a choice in which direction you move in the upright. It's having a choice to make. And with it in reverse, it's choosing a path. So this is going to influence you. Tell me more about this 2 of Wands in reverse. Tell me about the path that's being chosen. First of all, is it Sagittarius that's choosing this path? Yes. And it's a path of healing. Yeah. Aquarian energy. There's a path of healing being chosen here, dropping the weight and choosing healing. So this could even be that there's been grudges held or resentment or difficult emotions, whether that's just like grief that needs to be expressed so that it can be released, right? Not to be brought up again, to be like reinfused with fresh conflict, but to be acknowledged, honored, so that it can then leave. It can be flushed out, because the only way out is directly through something. So here you're choosing a path of peace and healing. Is there anything else about the actual path itself and where that leads? Or if it involves anyone else or a specific opportunity? The Magician and the Chariot. Damn. Some of you are manifesting a move, like a physical move. Yeah. For some of you, it's far away. For others of you, you are manifesting or you're calling into being just like a move that you want to make in your life in some area. So you're becoming clear on what you want. You are feeling like you're empowered and the authority on your life again. You know you're coming from a clear and like more healed place. And you've flushed out the things that would have caused confusion and tension. So now this is coming through as like you knowing your power, you seeing the way clearly that you want to go, and then you make that choice and you propel yourself forward. So this is beautiful because it's you having the emotional will, like knowing the why behind what you're doing, and that is fueling you. So you're able to streamline your energy and your power, alchemize it, put it all in one direction, and then also take action towards that goal as well. This is like conscious co-creation with the universe. This is very powerful energy to be in, especially when you're coming from the star. So I love this. Cancer season might be very significant as well for you, which we're in right now. Like a lot could be clearing up for you. Things could be manifesting for you. Some of you, this move is even actually happening. You're making something happen. I love that. I love it. Okay. Your reading is very straightforward and streamlined. And I really think that that's saying a lot about the energy and the work that has already been done. Like that is not a bad thing at all. So if your reading does end up being a little shorter, do not take that as a bad thing. It just means that your energy is clear. You have, reconciled and resolved something. And now you're answering the call, because you know what you want and you know who you are. Okay, so lastly, your advice being death and the moon. So this is Scorpio and Pisces energy here. This is allowing a transformation to happen. I want to clarify the moon, but this is basically allowing, I feel like this is allowing old insecurities, wounds, fears that have been in your unconscious or your subconscious. They've been hidden. It feels like they might be coming up to the surface again to be released or to be alchemized or transformed. So if things do come up, I don't see you being triggered by them or affected by them in a negative way because you're in the energy of the star. But yeah, there's something very transformative that wants to be embraced here with this scorpionic energy. This also is very intimate and emotional energy. So it's saying share this process with someone that you trust. If like this is involving someone else, then open up and share how you are evolving and shifting. I think that will really help build trust and reconnect you with someone if that's the case. Don't be afraid to share things that are going on under the surface as well in really deep places. Tell me more about death here. What is this transformation? What is being transformed? Okay. Aww, the Two of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Sun in reverse. Wow. This is what's being transformed. You've already put a lot of energy and effort into something here. But again, it just feels like you were hitting walls for some reason. You weren't seeing something clearly either within yourself and within a situation, or both, most likely both. But now where there was division and confusion, where things weren't being mirrored clearly back at you because of your own internal state of conflict, things are very clearly expressed. I heard confessed, so I don't know, but expressed and mirrored back at you. And so it's like all the energy has somewhere to go now. And I feel like it's transmuting or transforming the Sun in reverse. What was not seen, what was not known, what felt like out of reach or even impossible in some sort of way is suddenly transforming in a really gorgeous way. So tell me about the moon here. What does the moon have to do with this? I feel that this is depth of emotion, right? The moon is Pisces card, like I mentioned. So it's not always just the subconscious and what's, your fears, your insecurities. It also talks about the subtle realms, the intuitive realms. trusting yourself, having faith, being brave, and how much courage and strength it truly takes to be someone that feels very deeply and navigate the world in that way. And trust yourself to hold and honor that, and as well as others. So you're being encouraged to lean into all of that. Let's see. Three of Pentacles in reverse. There's something here that still hasn't been expressed about, I feel like, why something wasn't working or coming together, or why someone maybe was not completely cooperative here or open. And there's 3 threes in reverse here, the Cups, Pentacles, and Swords. Again, I feel this is something, though, that is being, like, there's dominion being had over this now. And so this King of Wands figure, I feel like, will be able to talk about something maybe now that was very overwhelming or deep or hard to express, hard to maybe even find words for, or to trust, sharing with someone else. They've been doing some really deep healing, and they weren't sharing everything that's been going on under the surface, like the depth of transformation that's already been taking place. This could be something that both you and this person were going through somewhat similar experiences, but not sharing it with one another. You could be coming together and sharing it and realizing, wow, we've been having a very similar experience. We actually just didn't know because we weren't sharing or communicating it with one another. So that could be a very definitive moment in the relationship, because I feel going forwards, then you will share more, or you'll trust more, that you're on the same page. Yeah. There's something that someone was very imbalanced with someone, and they needed to temper it. They needed to find moderation. They needed to, again, like, become empowered or in dominion over something again. It feels there's something that kind of like was either stifling, controlling, dictating, or just strongly influencing the spirit of this person or both of you. And it has been healed or walked away from, released, but it's something that caused a lot of insecurity, and it was an open cycle. It was disappointing, and it was hurtful for everyone involved, I feel like. So this is something that might be expressed. More details could come out about that just like knowledge is power. So it feels like the more understanding that you gain surrounding that and what someone's been going through, or vice versa, like that you share with them, this is really helpful and supportive of the relationship overall, and it builds a lot of trust. So I'm going to get an oracle card to close off and just give us a little bit more on that. So we're going to see what animal archetype it would be beneficial for you to work with, or use the kind of like embody the energetic traits of. So let's see. What archetype will be supportive for Sag over the next 72 hours? To work with or embody. Let's see. Whoa, okay, no, too many. Way too many. Way too many. Let me just pick one. The owl. Okay. So the owl is coming up in the reverse here. So let's see what it says in the book about this archetype. I'm channeling that Kendrick Lamar song that he sings with SZA. It's called Lucifer. The lyrics, he says, if it was up to me, I'd give you everything, I'd take away the pain. Or I'd take away the pain, I'd give you everything if this world was mine. So that could be something. But the owl in reverse is an energy of scarcity, and it can also be about money issues, like specifically. So scarcity overall and like limited beliefs in yourself and the world around you, but then that also can manifest as like money quarrels, competition, struggle, or lack in that way. When it's in the upright, it's generous, trusting, and secure. So I feel like this is saying that if something is transforming or has been hidden, or if something has transformed that is still hidden, there might be something that wants to be offered or shared. Like you might want to tell someone that you had been struggling in that way, but that it has sorted itself out, or that it's transforming currently, that you overcame something. Maybe that's what this was that was causing issues. But yeah, this talks about abundance and treasures. It can also talk about like clairvoyancy and just being extremely intuitive. But it generally talks about a good omen, like either in spiritual or material form. And then bringing that abundance to the world, trusting that abundance is infinite, that you'll never run out, that there's enough for everybody. And then also seeing and knowing how to use the resources that you've been gifted in a generous way, but also a stable way, right? Like responsible. So it's interesting it came out in reverse. I feel like this is kind of feeling like the High Priestess in reverse, though. It's coming through as sharing something that has been hidden. But it also is look at the places where you struggle to be generous. And that might have nothing to do with money. Like that could be the parts of yourself that you struggle the most to share. For some of you, they're very emotional, like intimate places. For some of you, it's your sensuality. Or it's just like very deep parts of you. And you struggle to share it maybe emotionally, or to be open and vulnerable and honest with someone or with others in those areas. But there's something about that withholding that or holding that in has not served you. It's caused issues. And I feel like whoever that is, that energy is surrounding, they have come into a more empowered place or understanding here surrounding that. And I do feel like sharing that is something that helps things get moving as well. Help something that was maybe lack-based or just difficult, strenuous, a struggle, shift gears. So that will be positive for you. Try, even if it feels really uncomfortable, to, as long as you feel safe, again, right? Safe and honored in the space, but try to push the boundaries of your comfort zone if this is you. And if this is not you, then just know that it might be quite difficult for whoever this is to open up about this. So just hold space, help them feel safe and seen. And I would say maybe like listen more than you speak if you can. Just kind of give them room to process and let that out if they feel that they can with you, okay? But this looks beautiful overall, Sagittarius. I think you've definitely done the work. There's something healing here within yourself and potentially with you and someone else. I also see something that was scarce or limited or just keeping you down starting to move very quickly because of this healing and because of your assuredness of what you want and then you going after that. So I think that this is absolutely beautiful. That is what I have for you, my loves. And yeah. I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye, Ann.